Well, there's always lots of questions. Many knowledge gaps have actually been identified by the National Blood Authority in the patient blood management guidelines, and a number of the projects that we're running in the Transfusion Research Unit are designed to address some of these questions and gaps. So there's lots of gaps. In fact, transfusion medicine is one of the areas that there is not that much research going into that area at all. So I suppose we're very lucky in my current position because we can take our pick. Well, yes, the Transfusion Research Unit team has a number of registries, projects and clinical trials. We're just working on final analysis and manuscripts to describe a time-driven, activity-based costing study to determine the true cost of transfusion in thalassemia. So I'm just about to speak at our national meeting about that. And I still don't know the answer of how much it does cost to transfuse a unit of red cells. We know a manufactured cost for which is written on each of the units, but in terms of what the costs are of the testing and the care of the patient as they come in to have that transfusion, we've employed a scientific method to actually map all of those steps and then assign a cost. So it's, again, you think of science as being something you do in the laboratory. It's not just there. It's actually a way of thinking, and it can be applied to a large number of things, including mapping processes and then costing, and that still gives answers to other areas. And certainly in terms of this, the reason why this study was done is that there's a new therapeutic agent that's being examined and developed that may reduce the need for transfusion in patients with transfusion-dependent thalassemia, because again it's actually looking at the dysfunctional manufacture of haemoglobin in these patients, and is increasing the efficiency of that actual process within those patients. Well, the big data is being analysed to provide quality and benchmarking tools for hospitals so that they can improve patient care. So one of the things that I've been doing is looking at we have huge data in the Massive Transfusion Registry, but it's pretty useless if it's just there as a 5,000 records for one episode. You actually need to be able to analyse it and then present that information in a way that can actually be used by clinicians and hospitals and people in transfusion laboratories to measure and then improve their care. So these reports actually allow the benchmarking of performance between hospitals and can measure against the same types of patient cohorts, so we can identify which patients had an obstetric hemorrhage or which patients had a gastrointestinal bleed, or which patients had trauma. So we're actually looking at those at the moment, and again there's a lot of work being done in the big data field, but I didn't realise that it would be quite so interesting. It really is very interesting, because you can actually, with large numbers of cases, compare and analyse and find results that nobody else has actually ever seen before. So that's really it's the walking on the moon thing about science, because when you look at something and find something that nobody else has ever seen or realised or understood before, and that's very exciting.